Tractate Bava Kamma, page 74. We will start today in page 73, 16 lines from the top of the page. אמר רבא, עדים שהוכחשו ולבסוף הוזמו. There is a concept that we have to remember, we studied it in the past, is called עדות מוכחשת. עדות מוכחשת meaning you have two sets of witnesses. One group, let's call them name, Reuven and Shimon. Another group, it's Levi and Yehuda. They bringing total different metziut, total different expression of evidence. For example, we learn that if a adon chaval be'eved, if a master damage his servant, so we learn that if it's a ayin, if it's a eye, or it's a shen, it's a tooth. So katachat, one group said that he first hit his eye, and then he hit his tooth. Kachniya, the second one, said he first hit his tooth, and then he hit his eye. So we learn from that an nafka mina different, that the eved, the servant, is set free, whatever come first. So basically, one of them, it set him free, and the other one, the master needs to pay. Obviously, it's a huge difference between eye and tooth. It's two different categories. So if tooth happened first, so the payment of the eye is very high, costly. If the other way around, it's the tooth is small payment. Another concept we need to learn, it's called Edut Muzemet, meaning Levi and Yehuda, the second group of the witnesses, are not arguing over the evidence. They don't say that it wasn't true. They just said, look, it may happen, but you guys were with us in different location at that time. So, halacha, by the Jewish law, we accepting, you remember we studied it, we accepting the last one. That's Gzerat HaGadov. So it means we have a huge difference between Edut Mukheshet, because Edut Mukheshet is like Teiko, in view of the bed din, versus Edut Muzemet, that we goes by what? By the last set of witnesses. So here, Rava brings us a chidush, a very innovating point of view. Rava said, Edim shehukhashu, you have witnesses who are first contradicted, ulvasof uzmu, and later on in the process, it turns to be total zomemim. So, for example, as Meiri said and Rashi said, that they said you are with us in a different location. And now, here is the thing. You have the first group. The first group said, Reuven killed Shimon, right? And they make a decision that it's over, right? The second group said, he never did it. The third group came and said to the first group, how you tell them that you saw Reuven kill Shimon, you are with us at that time. So it means that basically you impose the capital punishment upon those who clandestinely, surreptitiously planted to kill that person. And we said that the first set of witnesses, neheragim, that's edim zobemim, so therefore they deserve mita. And you don't say that at the time of hazamut, the time of the rendering nullification over their statement, and therefore it's not effective anymore. The akhasha tchilat hazamahi. Contradiction is the beginning of hazama. Ela shelo nigmera. The reality is, the Meiri explained, that the process is not completed. Since it's not completed, you take Edut Akhasha, you take Edut Azama, and it's considering as one long one. Now, the Kovetz Shiurim, one of the important luminary rabbis in the past generation, we mentioned him several times. So the Kovetz Shiurim ask, if you have edut akhasha, for example, Reuven and Shimon testified that Yaakov killed certain person in certain day, and Levi and Yehuda come and witnesses, and they said, it's not true, you are with us at that time, right? You are liars. You're not, you just want to cause Yaakov to die. So why that not make him invalid? Why is not poslim? So explain, when we have a case, and that Levi and Yehuda testified that Reuven and Shimon are criminals, are liars, so the witnesses of Levi and Yehuda, you take, and not the testimony of Reuven and Shimon, because it's all for themselves. They don't have a matter of ne'emanut. But where we say that Yaakov did not kill, for example, in the month of Nisan, and they not testified over Reuven and Shimon, but only over Yaakov, so therefore we say that we have there the matter of trust, you have ne'emanut, and therefore you question how far you go with that ne'emanut. Can you depend upon the witnesses of Levi and Yehuda more, the testimony, more than the Reuven and Shimon? So the Rav of Apta challenge from this Gemarrah based on the other Gemarrah. There is Gemarrah in Tractate Sanhedrin. The Gemarrah in Tractate Sanhedrin said, "Hayu motziim oto la'ariga," when someone is already have a verdict of execution. So they said, "Ma'aminim," the Bet Din ma'amidim. The Bet Din put horses, and they put people who runs with etc. etc. Why? Because if someone in the Bet Din find a merit, find a zchut of the person, so they don't kill him. So the rabbi of the Apta asked a question. You have 23 expert judges, unbelievable, ingenious people, and they always try to search to find a way to bring zchut on that person, and they couldn't find. So now you tell me, by being up all night, and now when they're about to go ahead and kill him, now they find some magic way that they find some zchut for him, some merit, some privilege for him. So the rabbi of Apta explains, and he said, the person see all of that. He sees that he's about to die. He sees about to be executed. He's make teshuvah. And the moment they have a wake up of his heart to do teshuvah, Hashem will mesovev asibot, God will turn the reasons to find someone out there, to find something to give him merit and make him to be a zakai. So it's all in order to wake a person to do teshuvah. The moment you do teshuvah, all the verdicts change. Amar Rav Menan Minala. Rava said, how do you know it? The Tanya. Me'idanu be'ish ploni shesimet et ein avdo ve'ipil et shino. There are witnesses that said, we testified over individual that blind his servant and he gets free, or take away his teeth, and basically he needs to release him. She'arei harav omer ken. Indeed, the master claimed this as well. V'nimtzeu zomemim, and the witnesses were subsequently rendered zomemim. Meshalmim dmei ayin la'eved. They need to pay the value of an eye to the slave. So Rava analyzed the Braita. Hey chedame, ile makidiktani delei kakat acharina. That we don't have another pair that contradicts the previous two. Meshalmim dmei ayin la'eved. They need to pay the value of the eye to the slave. Batar de mapkeile lecherut. Since it's a claim that the master blind his eye, so you set him free. Dmei eno kaba'ai leshalume. they need to pay the compensation for loss of his eye. They don't intend to lose anything in their witnesses. The only idea is that he's set him free. ועוד, and furthermore, דמי כולי עבד לרב באי לשלומה. They need to pay the value of the servants incomplete to the master. Why? Because they intend unfairly to take away to deprive him of his slave. ועוד, and furthermore, שהרי הרב אומר כן, the Brayta said, indeed the master claims this as well. So Rashi said here, כלומר, דניחא לרב בסעודה דאב, אבל כמה יפרש מהי ניחותא. Rashi have an issue, why it's saying ניחותא? Here you see it as a question mark. הרב מי ניחא לה? So is that comfortable for the master to go by their witnesses? So because other than that, he can hold him in his domain. He doesn't need to pay anything. Now that they testify that he blinded him or he caused him to lose his teeth, so he needs to release him and pay the compensation for loss of his teeth. אלא ודאי, כגון דעת ותרי ואמרי, הפיל את שינו, סימא את עינו. You have two witnesses that comes and say that he caused him to lose, or he damaged him, that he lost his teeth, and then he make him blind. דווי מיטב לי הרב, דמי עינו. ועתו ביתרי מציעא ואמרי, אינו והדר שינו, דלא בא אלה מיטב לי לדמי שינו, דקמק שלי כמה אלה מציעתה. So you see here, הכחשת עדות, that the two contradict, because the מציעתה needs to pay only דמי שינו, only the two. והיינו שהרי הרב אומר כן, נליכה למאי דקאמרי קטן לב ונמצאו זומי מציעא, הם משלמים דמי עין לעבד. So there is a famous saying of Rabbi Bunim of Pshischa. We learn at the end of Parshat Vayichi, the end of book of Bereshit, that Achei Yosef, the brothers of Joseph, they came and they gave him a long sentence after the father Yaakov passed away. And they claimed the father said, Ko tumru leYosef, Ana sap, it's a long sentence. So the question is, why it's so long? Why the text is such a long? So first of all, they come and said, we did something wrong. Asinu Abel, we did something wrong to Yosef. So first of all, you need to say, I did something wrong. Like this famous story about the Divrei Chaim, the Reb Chaim of Tzanz. So one of the Gabaim made a mistake. So the Rebbe rebuked him. So he said, I'm sorry. He says, that's what I'm looking. I'm looking not for you to do more than just to express your remorse. So he said, first of all, he said to his brother, the brother said to him, Chatan, we admit that we did wrong. And then the full explanation why the circumstance was not so much against you per se, but more it's a different intent. And you see a lot of writing about what exactly happened between Yosef and his brother, very different. We said it many times, people should not study Tanakh just by their own interpretations. People need to have a teacher to teach them the Tanakh so they learn properly. So we derive from that when you have a matter of hakhasha, so the moment you have the contradiction, it's basically the beginning of hazama. אמר רבי אלילו, דהבחינו והזבינו. So the second witnesses came and they turn around what the first one said, and it's also have a hazama, mimai. So Tosfot said, if it's because the two witnesses are basically come and testified for the hazama of the first one, and only then they decide to contradict the order, or because after they deny the order, they right away have hazama toch kedei dibur. So they said mimai. So from where do I know that in this case, under the discussion in the Brayta, page 74, just a comment. It's a book called Siduro Shel Shabbat. Beautiful comment. He brought a statement from the book of Micha, chapter 6, verse 5. It's a very well-known haftarah of Balak. Ami zcho na mayatz Balak ben Moav ume'ana oto Bil'am ben Be'or. My people, hear now what Balak, king of Moab, schemed, and what Bil'am, son of Be'or, answered him. Mina Shittim, and all the event from Shittim, ad ha-Gilgal, to Gilgal, leman dat tzidkot Hashem, in order to recognize the righteous act of Hashem. What's the kesher? What's the connection? Why it's so long sentence? And what's the connection between Shittim and Gilgal, that what advice Bil'am gave and Balak? So the Siduro Shel Shabbat explains that every story involved with bigotry and animosity toward the nation of Israel, the Midrash said that they sham'u shishim mil, they heard in a very long distance what Bil'am said. So based on that, he brought the Kedushat Levi, the great Rabbi Levi Yitzchak in Barditchev, who said, we learned that from the descendants of Haman, Bibnei Banav Shel Haman, Lamdu Torah Bebnei Brak, right? We learned that. And we learned that Bnei Banav of many great people, they have, from Pharaoh, from other people, they have people turn to be, from wicked people, we turn to be the descendants, tzaddikim. The only one we don't have that is Nebuchadnezzar. Why? Because if you look at that, Paro, Kedushat Levi said Paro, because of him we have 7 days of Yom Tov of Pesach. Because of Haman, we have the Yom Tov of Purim. Because of Nebuchadnezzar, we have Tisha B'Av. Right? So it's a story, so he saw a person drunk. He's drinking for 7 days. He says, why you drink 7 days? So he said, Haman wants to put a decree for 7 days. But then if you go out, if I lost, then it will be a 7 days of celebrations. I better do it for 1 day. So he said, I continue to drink for 7 days to win over Haman. But Siduro Shel Shabbat said that that's the meaning, what we said every Motzei Shabbat. We quoted from several places in the Tanakh that said, Vayafach Hashem et haklala livracha, ki ha'evcha Hashem elokecha. The Almighty turned the curse to a blessing because God loves it. So they said, the Midaseifa, here we are in 74. They said, Midaseifa b'mei pach ve'azama, because the latter part of the sugya of the Braita deals with the case of reversal, everything turned around, right? So they talk about 2 pair of witnesses only. And we talk about reversal in Azama, which means the first group said it was in certain order of the damages. And second one to go the other way around and also do Azama of the first one. So we understand that Reisha Namei b'pach v'azama. תקטן הספר, מידענו את איש פלוני שהפיל את שן עבדו וסימן את עינו, שהרי עבד אומר כן, ונמצאו זומים, שמים עד דמי עין לרב. היכא דמי, אידא לא כמה עדו לו בתראי בחבל הכלל, דמי כולי עבד לרב באי שלום אלי. אלא פשיטא דקה מודו כולו בחבלה, דקה הבחינו והזמינו, והיכא דמי, אידא כמה אחרי אחוריינה בתראי, עקד דמי עבד לרב באי שלום, דכא מחי ולגברי, עקד דגברי עליו ברכיוב ההוא. So Abai continues, ואילו עד לא עמד בדין דמי כולי עבד לרב באי שלום אלי. דקת גברא לא מחייב. So here you have a disputation between Rashi and Tosfot. So the key is the Tosfot in Makot, that page 5, they said that it will be a contradiction between the Eidim. אלא דעמד בדין. So the Bnei Sachar said in the Torah, and you see it also in Chidushei Harim, bring a midrash in Parashat Achrei Mot Bnei Aaron. So the midrash said, Gam anosh latzadik lo tov. So the Bnei Sachar said, Vei Achrei Mot, it's Lashon Rachok is distance. Why? Because it was a long time after the Chet HaEgel, after the sin of the golden calf. The way that the Gemarrah tells us that at the time of the Chet HaEgel, Chas v'sholem Aaron was about to lose all of his children because of the golden calf. But because of the koach HaTfilah, Tfilah osa mechza, that Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom prayed, as they said in the Torah, in Parshat Eikev, they said, ויתפלל, וגם, ובאהרון יתענף השם להשמידו, פרשת עקב, ויתפלל גם על אהרון בעת ההיא. So Moshe Rabbeinu prayed for him, as a result, Tfilah osa mechza, he lost half, meaning 2 out of 4 of his son he lost. So why it takes so long? So the Chafetz Chaim said, Mishpetei Hashem emet, tzadku yachdav. This is a fascinating statement of the Chafetz Chaim. He said, Rabbeinu Shalom did not punish until everyone around that person deserved the punishment. Which means, in the secular court, you punish someone, you don't care how it's affected other people. In Hashem, he's thinking why the family is guilty, they're not connected, when the friends. So when you impose punishment upon person, as gehört, your punishment on a person, it's also everyone around that person is also guilty. That's what the Chafetz Chaim said. So when it's come to that punishment, it's in a way that the people who are around him also feel sorry. So one of the things that you see, that we said, met echad ma'chavura, tidag kol ha'chavura. If someone from the group, from the chabura, passed suddenly young, so everyone should be concerned. So the Bnei Sachar bring, that's the midat harachamim, who said, ve'rav chesed ve'emet. We understand that Hashem is full of kindness. What does that mean, ve'emet? Emet is midat harachamim. Why? If someone from the sovevim, from around that person, feels sorry, and he's not deserve it, so that person will not get punishment just because of his friend, of his family. So that's the Maram Chagiz, explaining the Gemarrah in Brachot. The Gemarrah in Brachot said, Da'aga belevi shesichena. So it means that the person should share his pain, his sorrow with other friends, with others. So he said, because when he expressed his sorrow, he shared with someone else. So that person did not deserve to have sorrow and pain. So because of that person, from heaven, they forgive that person. So that's the idea of Vayi acharei mot shnei bnei Aaron. This is after the passing of the 2 sons of Aaron. Gam anosh latzadik lo tov, the Midrash said. That which means Hashem did not impose punishment upon a tzaddik if he's not just him, but the people who are around him deserve the sorrow. So therefore, the Nadav and Avihu needs to get punishment later on. They came either to Yayain or other reasons that they came to Beis HaMikdash and behaved inappropriately, and therefore God imposed it only after everyone is chayavin bedin. So anyway, based on this discussion, we mentioned the other day the Pitchei Choshen. Pitchei Choshen asked a question. Someone walk in the grocery store, for example, and they're selling all kind of stuff, and you know sometimes they're selling things that it's not really legal. So the fellow was holding a bottle of something that is illegal in that state, right? And all of a sudden, while he was holding, fall on the floor, broke, right? So let's say that bottle worth $40. The police or whatever they are came 5 minutes later or 2 minutes later, and they check everything in the store, they find everything okay, and they left. So actually that person saved him from a big fine, right? So the question is, he wants him to pay him for the broken bottle, and he said to him, you have to thank me. If I didn't break this bottle and they caught you with this bottle, they arrested you or they give you many thousands to pay. So instead of imposing on me the $40, you should be thankful for me that I broke it. Anyway, so that's a book, Pitchei Choshen. I have a discussion based on this Gemara. Anyway, based on this, they have a Ktsot HaChoshen and a Rambam. But let's continue first in the Sugya. Amar Rava Chabri Ravika Ravashi, Dukia de Rava Me'echa. Says how Rava have this diuk, deduce that contradiction is the beginning of הזמה. אילם מרישא רישא מיקא מתכחה שמציעתה. If you tell me that is from the first case, so the middle witnesses contradicted in the testimony is set aside. רישא מתכחה שמציעתה. כיוון דאי לא מתזמי סעודא כבתאיו כקיימא. דדינא כבתאיו פסקינא. יש בכלל מתי מנה. So you included with those who impose payment of the large payment of the eye, and the witnesses of the middle one, which involve with payment for the tooth. And he said, "Ilkach kamayu de kamikash chashem mitziai lo mitkach shemidei." So the Ksod HaChoshen asked on the Rambam and the Kesef Mishneh. For example, if Reuven claimed that Shimon owe him $10,000, all right? So you bring two witnesses that said, and they and so, I borrow from you 10K. Reuven come the other way around, Shimon come the other way around, and he brings two witnesses and he says, no, it's not true. I borrow from you 1,000, and that's what's involved, only 1,000. So you have here a hakrasha, you have here total deny. So according to the Beit Din, we have no choice but to impose on him only 1,000, and that's it. So according to the Din, if I hold tafasti and I said 10K, so that's called muhzak. You cannot take it away. If you have a witness that come and said, Imanu ayitem, you are with us, the case of Mishnah said, so you impose upon my witness 10K. Why? Because you garamtem, you cause. And the Pasuk said, "Vasitem lo kasher zamam lasot lachiv." You impose on him the way that he intend to do harm to the others. So the Ksod HaChoshen asked from our Gemarrah, what you see, the opposite. You cannot bring a proof from the Reisha, because the Maisei, anyway, even with the Akhasha, you don't have Edut Hazama, which means they cause that the Eved, the servant, will take from the Balabait more. And therefore, the way that the case of Mishnah explained that the Eved is Yitpos mi Balabait, it's basically Zomemim, and it's opposite in the way the Gemarrah said here. So the Ksod HaChoshen left with Tzorechiyun. אמר לי רבה שסדרה ומדרשת בשלוש כיתות, סעיף הנמי בשלוש ודייק מספר גונדת ובית רבע אמרי, הפיל את שינו וסימי עינו ועסקן לדינה פומיו. So therefore the imposer, the best didn't impose upon the owner to release the servant and he paid a compensation for his eye. ועתו בית רעכינה ואמרי, סימי את עינו והפיל את שינו, דקאמה ככה שלולעני קמאי, נמצאו זומים קמאי. ומשמין מי עין לרב, ויסגל את הקרשה עליו תחילת זמאי, המים משל העין ככה שלו מעיקרה, אלא שמע מינה, הקרשה תחילת הזמאי. So Abaye responds, and he said, ואביי אמר לך, בישלם הרי שלא סגל לו שלוש כיתות, שהרי קטן הרב אומר כן, אלא ספר למה לי שלוש כיתות, שהרי עבד אומר כן, עבד כל דאו מימר אמר, דניחא לנפול לחירות. So the Birkat Abraham asks a question based on that. He says, if someone did פגע בשן ועין ביחד, he harmed both eye and tooth together. So לכאורה, he should claim from the owner, the יותר זול. עין, he should be set free, יוצא לחירות. And שן, he needs to pay. So even the Rambam, and you see it also from Reb Chaim of Brisk, he said no, he should set free by the shen. And the Balabait need to pay him for the eye. But anyway, the Minchat Chinuch asks, based on that, another question. He says, if someone shochet lechole b'Shabbat, if someone slaughtered an animal for someone who is dangerously ill on Shabbat, so others, mutar la'achirim, other people can eat from that meat. So the question is, when it's come to bishul, when it's come to cooking, we said no. Why? Because when it's come to cooking, we said shamer bebishvilo, maybe he puts too much food in order to increase the food for the other guy. So the Mincha Chinuch asks, why when it's come to shchita, we don't have isur shamer bebasar bishvilo, that he increase for him his meat. So the Or Sameach explains, you see it also the explanation of Rabbi Reuven, Bengiz, and others, that it said when it's come to shchita, you don't have enough kamina, ben large and small. and therefore it's not the biggest neshama, right? So you don't have the isu. So nafkamina is if you need to slaughter shchita basar lo mevushal, or for example, if you need to take something from the freezer, hakpa'ah on Shabbat, if that considered muktzah or not, it's a big malach in the minchat chinuch. Matkif la Rabbi Zeira eima simeteno. Rabbi Zeira challenged and he said, if you talk about the case when the owner, the master, blinded his slave's eye, 74b, neipug ve'eino, he should go free on the account of his eye. He pilit shino neipug ve'shino, the same thing. He knocked his tooth, he need to pay. Neipug ve'eino ve'pilit shino, neipug ve'eino shino. So the owner still doesn't need to pay anything. אמר רבי עליך אמר קרא תחת עינו ולא תחת עינו ושינו, תחת שינו ולא תחת שינו ועינו. So obviously, even it's the Ramban, Ritva and others said that it's knas. But you see here that if the servant stand in court and go by the whole process, he can retroactively go free from the first damage. So therefore, the owner needs to pay for the second part that he damaged him. אמר רבי ברבי נפנן המתנין גנב על פי שניים וטבח על מחר הפיהם נמצאו זוממים ונשמים לו את הכל. מה אליו דעידו על הגנבה וחזרו ועידו על הטביחה והוזמו על הגנבה וחזרו והוזמו על הטביחה. So first they witnesses over the theft, and then they come and the witnesses on the slaughtering. So for example, he stole it on Sunday and he slaughtered it on Monday. But that's the way Rashi said. והוזמו לגנבה וחזרו והוזמו לטביחה. So it means on Tuesday turned to be that they're not truthful over the theft, and the Wednesday they turn to be Eidim Zomim over the טביחה, that they claim it happens on Monday. וכיוון שהוזמו לגנבה לגבי הטביחה אבל מוכחשים. הקטן הם משלמים לו את הכל, ויסגלת אחר כך שלב תחת תחילת הזמה, הטביחה למה הם משלמים? So if you tell me that the contradiction is not the beginning of Hazama, and the witness whose testimony was previously invalidated through contradiction are not subject to Hazama, so why do they need to pay for the slaughter? You have to say that contradiction is the beginning of the Hazama. Amri, they rejected that and said, here when they make him zomemim on the testimony regarding to על הטביחה תחילה, on the slaughter first, because being exposed as zomemin on the testimony regarding the theft. And they said, ubiplugta, and this is applied to the disputation, contradiction, בעדים שהוכחשו ולסוף הוזמו. רבי יוחנן ורבי אלעזר, אחד אמר נהרגים ואחד אמר אין נהרגים. תיסטן דרבי אלעזר הוא דאמר אין נהרגים. אמר רבי אלעזר, עדים שהוכחשו בנפש לוקין, which means that testified about the person committed murder and then contradicted, so they receive lashes. ויסגלתך רבי אלעזר הוא דאמר נהרגין, אמר לוקין. העוול אליו שניתן אזהרת בית דין, וכל אב שניתן אזהרת בית דין אין לוקים עליו, אלא שמאמינה רבי אלעזר הוא דאמר אין נהרגין. תסתיים, we concluded, לוקין תרי ותרי נינו, מה אלה חזית שמח העני, סמוך העני. מרבה בבא הרוג ברגליו. You talk about the person who alleged murder and the victim on his feet, came on his feet, which means that you have no suffix, you have no doubt that those witnesses lied, and therefore they receive malkot. So the Ketav Sofer said in Parshat Vayishlach, we learn, the Torah said, Yaakov Avinu said to his brother Esav, Im Lavan garti vayechara da'ata. So Rashi said, the famous Rashi said, even I live with Lavan, he says, v'taryag mitzvot shamarti, I observe the mitzvot. V'lo lamati masamarei tzela. So they ask a question, why did Esav care if Yaakov observed the mitzvot or not? Why care? Why need to tell him? So he said that the wicked hates the righteous, because the wicked pretend to be righteous, and then they think that because they pretend to be righteous, the righteous are also pretend to be righteous, because they live in such a phony life. So they think that everyone else is like that. Esav, they said, it's Tzayid Befiv. So he thought that Yaakov Avinu also did something that wasn't right with Yitzchak. So therefore, Yaakov come here and says, no, here is the story of Lavan. In Lavan Gartai, that I didn't behave like Lavan even I was in his house. And therefore, וישלחה להגיד לאדוני למצוא חן בעיניך. So now I sent forth to tell you, to find kindness to you, because you don't think that I'm here להקנית אותך, that I'm here to put you down. I'm here to tell you the truth. תיתן אמת ליעקב, that I wasn't involved by any means in the environment of Lavan, and even with that hostile environment, like they said about Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, that they went to Kibshan Ha'esh, and the miracle happened that they came out the same as they were before. So that's the idea, that Yaakov Avinu went to the life of Lavan, and it's easy for him to behave like him and be like him, but he wasn't influenced by him. Titan Emet Yaakov, he came out as the Yaakov that became the Bechira Avot.